Welcome to Claiming Space, the podcast. I'm Gail Austin, an advocate for caregivers, a dreamer, an iPhone photographer, and a self-confessed museum lover. Oh, and I'm the mother of 2 adult children, one who's disabled, and I am her caregiver. As a caregiver, it took me some time to learn how to carve out space for me and to be okay with claiming my space. But once I did, this simple step allowed me to stay fueled, fulfilled, and replenished. Each week, I will share my stories, my journey, and ways I stay inspired as a caregiver. Join me for shared stories, connections, special guests, and inspiration. How do we find that thing that brings us joy? That thing we can nurture and grow and use as an anchor to bring a smile to our face or bring calm in the moment. I call it stepping into me. But what does that really mean? For me, it's about allowing myself to be present and aware of the thing or things that bring me joy. Let's explore ways you can step into you. Are you ready to join me in episode 11 to discover joy? Last year, as I participated in my coaching certification program and developed my coaching skills and refined my technique, I learned simplicity and curiosity are the keys to self discovery. Trust me, there is a lot of information and technique and skill to coaching, and the process of keeping it simple allowed me to be present and to listen. I learned asking a single question and building on the answer, digging deeper can unlock more answers. I found the most challenging question you can ask is what brings you joy? This question requires you to be still and to listen to yourself and really be reflective about what makes you smile and what truly brings you joy. This is a simple question, but not a surface level answer can be supplied. When I asked myself the question, I'm not sure I knew right away what brings me joy. I can equate joy to many things: love, release, safety, laughter, smiles, even tears. We know romantic love and unconditional love for our family, but what about self love? For me, joy is a form of self love, being aware and appreciating living in that moment. Years ago, I used to date someone, and he would always say, live in the moment. And at the time in my life, I just never got it. There was just too much stuff going on in my life for me to understand what that truly meant. And now, after years of experiences, I really get that concept of living in the moment. Whatever that moment is, enjoy it, appreciate it, the good and even the bad of it, and take it with you and take something from that moment. I feel like every moment that is presented to us is an opportunity to learn and to take something from it to help build us up, change us, mold us. So when we take the time to discover what brings us joy, we are living in the moment. We are being present with ourselves. Once you find the thing that brings you joy, it's up to you to nurture it. So here's an example. Say I like to run. I love to run. That's the thing that brings me joy. Am I building on my skills so I can continue to run and continue to enjoy it? Am I immersing myself in the process? What are the things I'm doing to nurture my joy of running? And that can be applied to anything. But you have to be, while you're doing it, while you're doing the action, while you're at that theater, while you're eating that great meal, you have to be present in that moment, not taking pictures, not thinking about the next thing. You're enjoying the air around you and how your body feels when you're running. You're enjoying what you're experiencing, and that's the part of it. That's the joy. And as you do those things that bring you joy, it allows you to step into you or find those parts of you that you may have had hidden or pushed down or pushed away. One of the reasons that I wanted to become a coach was I wanted to find a healing and empathetic way to enhance my caregiver advocacy program. The thing about being an advocate is if you are an advocate for a person you care for, you sometimes don't be an advocate for yourself. You kind of forget. And I wanted to find ways for that to identify that self advocacy, to give people tools to think about how they can be their own advocate. So as I talk about this, I have to be an advocate for myself. Um, I'm going to give a couple of examples here. I discovered ways for me to learn and nurture the things that bring me joy. So here's one example. Years ago, I created a coffee table book called Artful, which is about 100 pages of photos I had taken with my phone, and they were images that reflected what I saw in that moment. I did not make this book to mass produce it and sell it. It was something for me and something I sometimes share with family and friends. And it's good. I have it on display. It's a cool thing. But the book also spurred other ideas for me. Why not create a book about space? I watch a lot of architecture shows, and when I'm out taking pictures or doing things, I always kind of pause and see how I feel when that environment that I'm in. And I thought I could capture this in a book, right? This thing about space. And I don't mean, the space around the earth, around Mother Earth. I'm talking about when you enter a certain room or a venue or in nature, how do you feel in those spaces? Does something change for you? Does something shift? And that's what I was trying to capture in this book concept. I kind of like to call them sacred spaces. That's what they are for me. They could be anything for anyone. It's just my interpretation. But they have a way of centering me and allowing me to focus. So being in the moment, being present, sometimes allows us to kind of release, move in a different way, recognize and see something in a different light. So anyway, I wanted to create this book based on with pictures I had taken in those types of spaces. I've taken some really cool pictures, a little abstract, but I think they kind of reflect that. And I thought, it's okay, but I wasn't sure what would really resonate, what really give you that concept of space. And then I thought, oh, okay, maybe I should just film it and put it on one of my blogs or my IG account of me in a space filming it, kind of like when you're at the Broad and you're in Cosima's infinity room and you're kind of being immersed in that infinity space. I thought that might be cool, but I thought you're still not feeling what I'm feeling, or you're not having your own personal experience, right? You're just being reflected what I'm showing you. So then a better idea formed. I could facilitate in-person events where we go to local places and experience the space. And now the claiming spaces, the movement became a thing. So yeah, I just coined that name. I may change it. So where to go? In Southern California, we have so many museums and gardens and venues that kind of give you that awe moment, give you that time to pause. So I'm working through a list of places that I would like to do this, and hopefully on a quarterly basis or more frequently, I'll be offering these experiences to a small groups, so 4 or 5. But I would love to start with the meadow at the Eames House. So for those of you who do not know, um, the Eames House is a home by Charles and Ray Eames. It's in Pacific Palisades. And right now, with everything that has happened with the fires, it's not accessible. It did survive the fires, though. And there's tons of other interesting things about the Eames House. It is a case study home. If you're familiar with architecture, it's one of the case study homes. It's when you walk up to it, it's really rather unpretentious, but it does spark curiosity and makes you be still as you're like looking in the window. And you can see that it's been maintained when you peek into the living room, because you can't um, visit the inside of the home unless you are a member, and they only let members in certain times of the year. Um, so, but you can peek in and you can see, because there's these glass walls, and you can get the sense that Charles and Ray has just stepped away for a moment. And what's so cool about this is that years ago, LACMA uh, had that same living room. They had cataloged everything in that room and moved it over to LACMA because they were retrofitting the house to make sure it was okay. And that's how I actually really, it's probably over 12, 13 years ago. That's how I actually really got really immersed with the Eames house. But you got to walk around. You weren't allowed to go in, but you could see the house, see the living room, and see how they, even to where the books were placed. It was fabulous how they cataloged everything. I think there's an article out there somewhere in the LA Times archive that talks about that. But the first time that I visited the house, yes, the house is amazing. I was actually struck by the meadow in front of the house. There's a eucalyptus grove of trees in this open meadow. And typically when I go to places, I do a little research. To better understand what I'm going to see. And in this case, I knew a few things, so I didn't really do a deep dive research into it about the property or the meadow. I just wanted to make sure I got there in time and had some place to park. Like that was my extent. So I'm here at the Eames house. I'm standing in the meadow and I'm talking to the docent because they have docents there on site. And I said, how amazing that space was, that meadow space. There's a play of light and shadows that are happening in the meadow that reflecting on the home and the energy. There's energy and there's power. You can actually see the Pacific Ocean from the meadow. Um, it's just a sensory wonder happening there. I loved it. And I said to the docent, I'm so glad they didn't put the house here in the meadow because you would lose all that. Because the house is actually positioned off to the right of the meadow, up against almost a hill. Um, near the back end of the lot, there's like the house, and then there's your studio. And the docent said, "Yeah, the original plan was to place the house in the meadow, but then Charles and Ray came to the site, and they said, no, we need to keep this meadow open." Right? They wanted to have that space for their children and their grandchildren. So when you're in that meadow, you feel connected to that energy that Charles and Ray felt in the meadow. These are the type of experiences I want to share. When you go into a certain room at a museum and you get overwhelmed by the artwork or the way the architect has crafted that room so that there's light coming in certain ways, it does affect how you interact with what you see. So those moments are amazing. Just being slowly, walking through a garden. There's something about that slowness and just letting your body hit the earth. That's that is what energy and power can do for you. So eventually I will be offering these claiming spaces, the movement, claiming spaces, okay? These little field trips. We will go to different local places I mentioned earlier, and this should allow us to experience as a group how to be present. Um, an opportunity, let everything else just slide away. And I know in the beginning, I probably, it's just something. This is my passion project. So this is something I just want to do. It's not going to be a very costly thing. We'll get tickets to wherever we're going, and we'll meet there and hang out for a couple of hours. But most importantly, this experience will be different for each person. So if I give you a book or a film or something, you're looking at it through my lens. But if we're together in a group, everyone's going to have their own moment and their own experience, and then we can share that with each other. Again, it's not about a competition, who did it better, who saw it better, who felt more. It's about allowing yourself to be grounded and still and present in the moment. Finding that thing that brings you joy is so very important. And this is one of the things that could do it for you. It can kind of still slow you down. When life is throwing so many things at us, we need to find a way to just for a moment, if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, just be still. And think about our breathing. How are we breathing? Breathing in and breathing out. And if for some reason you can't get to that place, you can capture that memory and you can be wherever situation you're at and take that time, 1, 2 minutes, to think about where is that place that brought me joy, that made me calm, that made me smile. Let me reflect on that in this moment, and that will center me and get me back and it will mute the chaos for a moment. So I encourage you to find that thing that's special to you. Nurture that thing that allows you to step into yourself. And most importantly, think about the joy because there is joy out there. With everything that's going on, we still need to find the joy, find the laughter, celebrate the moment, and connect with each other. This is about being okay with being who you are. You're not trying to create a carefully curated photo spread on Instagram. And trust me, I've got some of those. But we also need to take these little moments and kind of internalize them and share them with ourselves so we can just rejuvenate ourselves. I hope my stories are resonating with people. I have more stories to tell. I'm still trying to decide which ones I want to share. Some are kind of, I don't think are okay for prime time. But in this episode, I wanted to share a little love and some guidance. And you may wonder what brings me joy. Reading a good book, sitting in the Japanese garden at Huntington Library, having an in depth conversation about history or movies or music with my son, talking to my mom and my sister and my niece, whether individually or all together. Us Austin ladies like to chat. And what really brings me joy is my daughter's giggle. When we find and nurture our joy, it helps us grow and become resilient and keeps us moving through this world. So I leave you with that thought. And I leave you with the magic of sacred spaces, of clarity, creativity, and awe and wonder and stillness. Thank you for listening to this episode. And please share this link with your friends. Rate the podcast and follow me on Instagram. And soon, Patreon. Our community is still coming. The Claiming Space movement is here to support and provide a safe community where caregivers are acknowledged and seen. Enjoy the rest of your day.